I'm not smarter than you. I'm more knowledgeable than you, and that's only because I'm older than you. Parents are always more knowledgeable than their children, and children are always smarter than their parents. Unless the child is a mental retard. Unless the child is... Huh? It said... Huh? It said, oof. What is that? It's a joke. Do you want to hear another, or have you already had an oof? Do you want to hear another, or have you had oof? Enough. Okay. Do you want to hear another, or have you had a noof? He looked at Grandma in the mirror and said, what is he saying? She said, his grandfather loved animals more than he loved people. I said, get it? Oof. I crawled back because it's dangerous to drive and talk at the same time, especially on the highway, which is what we were on. Grandma started touching me again, which was annoying, even though I didn't want it to be. Mom said, honey, and I said, oui. She said, did you give a copy of our apartment key to the mailman? I thought it was so weird that she would mention that then, because it didn't have to do with anything. I think she was looking for something just like, it wasn't the obvious thing. I thought it was so weird that she would mention that then, because it didn't have to do with anything. But I think she was looking for something to talk about that wasn't the obvious thing. I said, the male person is a male woman. She nodded, but not exactly at me. She asked if I had given the male woman a key. I nodded yes, because I never used to lie to her before everything happened. I didn't have a reason to. Why did she do that? She asked. So I told her, Stan, and she said, who? So I told her, Stan, and she said, who? And I said, Stan the doorman. Sometimes he runs around the corner for coffee, and I want to be sure all of my packages get to me. So I thought, if Alicia... Who? The mailwoman. If she had a key, she could leave things inside her door. But you can't give a key to a stranger. And fortunately, Alicia isn't a stranger. We have lots of valuable things in our apartment. I know. We have really great things. Sometimes people who seem good end up being not as good as you might have hoped, you know? And what if she has stolen our things? She wouldn't. But what if? But she wouldn't. Well, did she give you a key to her apartment? She was obviously mad at me, but I didn't know why. I hadn't done anything wrong. Or if I had, I didn't know what it was, and I definitely didn't mean to do it. I moved over to Grandma's side of the limousine and told Mom, why would I need a key to her apartment? She could tell that I was zipping up the sleeping bag of myself, and I could tell that she didn't really... She could tell that I was zipping up the sleeping bag of myself, and I could tell that she didn't really love me. I knew the truth, which was that if she could have chosen, it would have been my funeral. It would have been my funeral we were driving to. I looked up at the limousine sunroof, and I imagined the world before there were ceilings, which made me wonder, does a cave have no ceiling? Or is a cave all ceiling? Maybe you could check with me next time. Okay? Don't be mad at me, I said, and I reached over to Grandma and opened and closed the door's lock a couple of times. Don't be mad at me, I said, and I reached over to Grandma and opened and closed the door's lock a couple of times. I'm not mad at you, she said. Not even a little? No. Do you still love me? It didn't seem like the perfect time to mention that I had already made copies of... Oh my God. It didn't seem like the perfect time to mention that I had already made copies of the key for the deliverer from Pizza Hut and the UPS person, and also the nice guys from Greenpeace, so they could leave me articles on manatees and other animals that are going extinct when Stan is getting coffee. I've never loved you more. Mom? Yes? Mom? Yes? Mom? Yes? I have a question. Okay. What are you squeezing in your purse? She pulled out her hand and opened it, and it was empty. Just squeezing, she said. Even though it was an incredibly sad day, she looked so beautiful. I kept trying to figure out a way to tell her that all of the ways I thought of were weird and wrong. She was wearing the bracelet that I made for her. That made me feel like $100. I love making jewelry for her because it makes her happy. Making her happy is another one of my raisons d'etre. It isn't anymore, but for a really long time, it was my dream to take over the family jewelry business. Dad constantly used to tell me I was too smart for retail. That never made sense to me because he was smarter than me. So if I was too smart for retail, then he really must have been too smart for retail. I told him that. First of all, he told me, I'm not smarter than you. I'm more knowledgeable than you, and that's only because I'm older than you. Parents are always more knowledgeable than their children, and children are always smarter than their parents. Parents are always more knowledgeable than their children. Children are always smarter than their parents. Unless the child is a mental retard. Unless the child is a mental retard. Unless the child is... Unless the child is a mental retard, I told him. He didn't have anything to say about that. You said, first of all, so what's second of all? Second of all, if I'm so smart, then why am I in retail? That's true, I said. Then I thought of something. But wait a minute, it won't be the family jewelry business if no one in the family is running it. He told me, sure it will. It'll just be someone else's family. I asked, well, what about our family? Will we open a new business? He said, we'll open something. I thought about that. My second time in a limousine. Oh, my God. I thought about that my second time in a limousine when the renter and I were on our way up to... I thought about that my second time in a limousine when the renter and I were on our way to dig up Dad's empty coffin.